Peace, family. And this is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is Sunday, so happy Sunday, March the 30th, 2025, and the time is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, Grand Rising, a great rising, happy Sunday, joyous rising, prosperous rising, wealthy rising, and good evening. So join us today because we're going to do a brief synopsis of breaking news. So please come on, check on in, family, and let me tell you what's going on. We have breaking Iraq and Vietnam news. This is interesting and is very important as it relates to the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. So you want to listen to this news. So much is going on behind the scenes, really at the forefront if you know where to look. So if you are invested in Iraqi dinar, the Vietnamese dong, or even if you're invested in gold and or silver, or you just want to know what's going on in the world as it relates to Nasara Jassara, the National Economic Security and Reformation Act, or the global version of that, the Global Economic and Security Reformation Act. Family, you want to hear this news today as we are headed into April. Spring is upon us. The new year is here. Happy New Year, happy spring, and Liberation Day, as declared by President Trump, which will occur on April the 2nd, is almost here and is very significant as it relates to the golden era and the gold standard and the International Coinage Act. Oh my God, so much is going on, family. Check in. I see North Carolina's in the house. Hello, Sister Katrina. Good evening, Deirdre. So good to see you. Happy Sunday, Jerry. Yes, it's so good to be here. He's from New York. Hello, Amelia. So much good news is going on in the background. Hi, my girl. I love you so much. Valerie's in the house. Much love to you too, sister. Jerry is here. Spring has sprung among us, family. Amelia's in the house. Elizabeth from Pennsylvania's in the house. Mark is here. Hello, welcome. Barb in the house. Hello. I see Sister Rose is here. Anthony Hood, always here checking in from Michigan. Hello, family. Good evening. Bill is here. Good to see you. See, LaKay is here. Good evening. Says, hello, beautiful soul family. Hello, ready to rock it. Who's that? Ready to rocker us. Rock your ASS. Virginia's in the house. Greetings from Chicago. Chicago's in the house. Victoria is here. Hello, welcome from Georgia. Jad Tiddy is here from Washington District area. Cheryl Watkins says, Grand Rising Queen and Soul Family. Sunday blessings to you all. Victorville, California is in his house. Hello, Sister Carmen from Dayton, Ohio. Hi, Carmen. Good to see you, my love. Elle is in the house. Sonny's here. Hello. Who else is in the house? Darlinson is here. Militant Angel says, rise up, Sister Love from Gambia. Welcome. Who else is in the house? Hello, he says. Aka Chai says, hello, Dr. Kia and Soul Family from Toronto, Canada. Oh, we got some good news for the Soul Family today. LT is in the house. Curtis is in the house. Grand Rising. Who else is here? Sister Deborah is in the house. My Beach Day is here. Welcome. China is in the house. Sham Bam. Hey now says, hello, lady. Welcome. David is here. Teresa and Susan, welcome. Sin is here. Hi, Sin Soul. Welcome to the Soul Families chat today. Darlinson is in the house from Tennessee, where my son hails from. Raina says, hello from Columbus, Ohio. I'll be there next month, as a matter of fact, in 2 weeks. Sherman says, I'm in the house from Nebraska. Mello is here. Sunshine is here. Annabelle, Sister Deidre, welcome, family, from Cleveland, Ohio, my hometown, where I was born and raised. Darlinson says hello again from Tennessee. Who else? Oh, we see God Soul Rules is here from Australia. Wow. Also, we have St. Lucie, Florida in the house. Barbara is here, says, I love your energy. Thank you, Sister Barbara. I love you so much. And I am so ecstatic to be a wonderful reflection of you. Sister Sandra is here from the UK. Good morning. Clifford is in the house. Carl is here. Keep checking in, family. Tracy Fleming is here from Chicago. 17 Rings is here. Who else? North Carolina. North Kakalaki is in the house. Anna is here from Florida. Also, we have Minnesota in the house. Welcome. 17 Ring says, hello, I'm hailing from Las Vegas. Also, Chief Faya Wata is in the house. I love that name. Who else? Walk and Talk with Todd is here. Feathers up, family. It's always good to see you. Philip is in the house. Amelia's here. Who else? Justin says, hello, Dr. Pruitt and Soul family. We have Indiana, Kokomo, Indiana's in the house. Shantae is here. Lady L says salutations. Hello. Lucy Free says blessings to the Soul family. Walk and Talk is here in Jacksonville. You and I need to meet up, okay? It makes no sense for us to be in the same city and not see each other, okay? He's representing Duval. That's how we talk about our county or announce our county. Robert is in the house. Hello. He said, hi from Houston, Texas, where my brother hails from. Ontario is here. Hi, Sister Mara. Who else is here? Another Nebraska native is here. John Miller is in the house. Dee is here from St. Louis, Missouri. Sister Lorraine is here in his house. All right, great day. It's a great day to be alive. Yes. C's Rich is in the house. Also, JoJo says, hello, Kia from Eastern North Kakalaki. Sister Rhonda is here from Coral Springs, Florida. I'm just so ecstatic to have so many people here from the States and all over the world. Hello, Raphael. He says, hello, beautiful people. D is in the house, says, hello, family. Who else? Wisdom Seeker Jason is from Michigan, saying hello to the Soul family. Logical says hello from Wichita. Keep checking in. Do I feel like car insurance and credit card interest rates, rent adjustments will also be reset? Absolutely. As Nasara and Jasara are coming in, car insurance will have to cease. Credit cards will cease. All credit will cease because credit and charging interest is against the Constitution. So all that will go away. Yes, interest rates, everything is going to adjust and change. Good question, Tiombi. Also, let's see. Pasquad says, I'm watching from the Bronx, New York. Just look at how big our Soul family is. Tennessee is in the house. Michigan is in the house. Jason from Southern California is in his house. Colorado is here. Hello, Albertina. Curtis is here. Turbans and feathers forever. Moors and indigenous people reigning and ruling together. Houston in the house. Hi, Barry. Hello, Roger from Florida. No, Roger, you're from Houston. Oh, and there's another Roger here that's saying hello from Palm Beach, Florida. I got it right. Andreas is in the house. Shauna is in the house. Mara is in the house. Oh my gosh, so many people. Alabama is in his house. Yes, Mara, the Zim bond will be redeemed. Andreas says hello. And Jason says, is the RV going to happen April the 2nd? Good question. Hello, Sister Amelia. So, family, let's get into the news. Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you. I want to tell you all that I appreciate you and I love you so much. Many of you through the weekend have sent me so many blessings, salutations, greetings, prayers, peace offerings, messages of love and prosperity. People have been asking, where have you been? Because I didn't report this weekend, but that didn't stop you from blessing me. So I want to acknowledge you and tell you all thank you for your Cash App blessing, because without you, I am irrelevant. I want to thank Beautiful Max Ministry. That's our Chief Mac for blessing me with $400 over the weekend. God bless you, Chief Mac. We love you. He's the chief of the Soul Tribe. He watches over us. He does consultations. If you want to get in contact with Chief, his address or his email is unityemotion45@yahoo.com. He talks to us about how to operate outside the jurisdiction of the United States Incorporated. He sent me a Cash App blessing this weekend. Also, Delilah N. Smith, thank you so much. Roy, thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. My daughter, DeSarah, thank you so much. OC Hassan, thank you for the Cash App blessing. Dorian, thank you. Susan Hempel, God bless you. Sending me almost $300. Loyal, determined, God bless you. Andreas, I am so honored that you all care so much about me and the work that we're doing. Thank you for sending a monetary blessing. Also, Sister Gloria Porter, she says, you give awesome information. Thank you for the awesome information. Sister Normal says, thank you, Dr. Kia Pruitt. I'm sending you love. Also, Milton Griggs says, this is my donation. And Han Lee says, here's my gift. Thank you for the donation. Carol Rashford says, here's a payment for how you bless the Soul family. Thank you. Barbara Pittman sent a blessing. And Deidre Holt said, I appreciate, love you. Family, we have 275 people in the chat. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know where you're hailing from. Put it in the chat and ask your questions. I'll try to get through the questions as quickly as I can. But let's get into this news, family. Breaking Iraq and Vietnam news as it relates to your investments in the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar. Also, we have news coming out of Mississippi as it relates to income taxes. And we're going to talk briefly about April 2nd, how it is approaching and how that day is very, very significant and important to we, the American people, and people really all over the world as America is interconnected. So come on in, family, in a room, settle down, get you some water, get you some coffee or tea, or a nice glass of wine. You can even get some popcorn, okay? So we're going to try to speed through this news. It is Sunday. People have things to do as you get ready for your new work day or school, or you get the children ready, or you might be getting ready for dinner. So what do I want to tell you? It is important for you to know that we have news coming out of Iraq that as of April the 1st, that's in what, 2 days? Iraq will become the international transportation hub of the world, not just the transportation hub of the Middle East, but of the world. This is huge news. I'll show you 2 articles to support my claim. So as of April the 1st, Iraq will implement something called the TIR. That is a global transit system that is known as the Transportation International Router System. This system, again, goes in effect in the Middle East, but specifically in Iraq, and it will connect Iraq to 66 countries. This will expand cross-border trade and cross-border transactions. Notice the number 6. Okay, these elite love the 6 number. 6 represents the human family. It looks like a pregnant woman. Like you see that, you see the belly like a pregnant woman, the human family. As it relates to 666, that represents carbon or melanin, 6 proton, 6 electron, 6 neutron. So the elite loves 666, route 66, which is a significant route that comes from one end of the country all the way to another end of the country, and then 666 representing carbon or melanin. The deep state or the elite will tell you that 6 is an ominous number. If you see it 2 times, if you see it 3 times, you should be afraid. Oh my God. But all it represents is carbon and life, because the entities at the top that rule and control the world desire to rule and control life, and to siphon the life out of we human beings, which we're not just human. We have inter or extraterrestrial DNA. We have all type of God particles inside of us. But these entities that rule the world siphon the life from us by absorbing our blood, our energy, by suppressing us, by keeping us oppressed, by making us slaves, financial slaves, okay, psychological and emotional slaves. And when they would terrorize us and make us slaves and oppress us and put financial burdens on us through high interest rates, high inflation, and all of these things, debt and credit, we would emit a psychic energy called loosh. We'd be afraid, we'd be stressed out. And this loosh or psychic energy fed those beings. But now, what my purpose today is to encourage you to look at the benevolent side of numerology, the benevolent side of the news that mainstream media will not report to you. So as of April the 1st, there will be an implementation of a system, a global transit system again, called the International Router System. This system will connect Iraq to more than 66 countries. This will expand cross-border trade, and it will increase the demand for the Iraqi dinar. It will increase the demand for the Iraqi dinar. This will also increase trade from Iraq to other nations, thus making Iraq a very, very critical nation as it relates to international trade. So let me show you the first article here, just so I can support my claim, and I'll be sure to leave this in the description section for you. But let's briefly look at the article as it relates to this new international system. This was just produced or published on March the 24th, just about 6 days ago. Iraq is set to reap the benefits of a global TIR transit system when it goes live on April the 1st, and this will make a new era in international logistic trade. So the system again becomes fully operative or operational and on April the 1st, which they call April Fool's Day. Okay, but nothing's going to be a trick about this day. This day is going to set a financial precedent in Iraq, the Middle East, and all over the world. With the significant milestone, Iraq is poised to strengthen its position as a key trade hub in the Middle East, making goods transport more efficient, and it will secure across the country's borders and beyond. This system will play a crucial role in turning Iraq's Development Road project into a reality. The initiative connects southern and northern Iraq, and it provides an efficient trade corridor linking Asia, the Gulf Cooperation Council region, Tariqa, and Europe. So it will link all different nations to one another. This logistic and transport company is ready to start the operations from departure points such as, which is Tariqa, via the Iraq seaport. Remember they used to say, watch the water? So they're talking about seaports and international trade routes, okay? The operations or the pilot operations have shown that this journey can be completed in less than 1 week, whereas before trade could take 3-4 weeks, several months. Now you can have cross-border trade and different interactions in less than a week, compared to a minimum of 14 days via the Red Sea, or it could take up to 26 days previously if the ships needed to reroute around Africa. So I just want to let you see that they've been working tirelessly, according to the article, to upgrade a road transport infrastructure system. But now they're committed to maximizing the advantages of this new system in Iraq to boost the transport sector and the national and international economy. Good news for those of you who are interested in what's going on in Iraq, and for those of you who have the Iraqi dinar. So let me just take a deep breath and go a little slower. The new system cuts transport or transportation time significantly between Iraq and other nations. This leads to cheaper transactions and faster transactions, and it leads to more countries wanting to trade their goods through the Iraqi ports. And this will lead to a higher demand for the Iraqi dinar, since Iraq has now become the central transportation hub of the world. You know who used to be the central trading hub of the world? Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky used to be the national trading hub and the central trading hub of the world. And I know that because I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for over 20 years. And I always wondered why we had so many caves, so many underground tunnels. And this is well known in Louisville, Kentucky. You have underground tunnels that come from the Brown Hotel and goes all the way through underground to the Churchill Downs, where the Kentucky Derby is held. Why do you have underground tunnels from the Brown Hotel? You know, Brown is a significant name. The Brown, Pelosi's, and the Newsoms all run California. They're all and the Gettys, they're all intermarried. So this is the same, it could be the same Brown family that's in Kentucky. The Brown, well-known, very lavish, posh hotel in Louisville, Kentucky has an underground tunnel that runs all the way through to Churchill Downs, where they have the Kentucky Derby. And the Kentucky Derby hosts this big horse race whereby all leaders of the world, international folk, presidents, prelates, politicians, and entertainers from all over the world come to watch a 3-minute race. Do you think that's all that was happening in Louisville, Kentucky, the international or former international hub of the world? Perhaps, but they would come from all over the world to watch a 3-minute race, have all types of parties, and God knows what else was going on in all those deep underground tunnels in Louisville, and mounds, and all type of caves in Kentucky. So whereby Louisville, Kentucky was the transportation hub of the world, now Iraq will become the transportation hub of the world. And I can show you just briefly how here's an article that says Greater Louisville earns the top spot as national logistics hub. That was July 18, 2023. And it talks about how back then, Louisville actually was ranked as the top logistics hub and transportation hub nationally. Then I have another article that shows how it was the international hub or trading hub in Louisville, Kentucky for the whole world. You see here, Louisville, Kentucky is a significant international transportation hub, particularly for air cargo, due to the presence of the UPS Worldport, the largest automated package handling facility globally located at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. I'm talking about Louisville because I'm from Louisville, and I also know that Louisville was a blue city. A lot of things happened in Louisville. We had a lot of marching, a lot of Black Lives Matter and Antifa activity there. We had 10,000 automatic weapon parts that was confiscated from that same airport, Muhammad Ali Airport, in 2020. 10,000 automatic weapon parts from China in 2020 that was confiscated in Louisville. We had the shutting down of the PNC building and complex in Louisville, Kentucky, because it was founded or discovered that the Ukrainian mafia was laundering money through the PNC. We had a lot of sex trafficking, human trafficking that was going on in Louisville, Kentucky, which led to a lot of Chinese restaurants, notably and visibly shutting down. And they would even put up on their doors, "We shut down," because trafficking was running out of these businesses. So much was going on in Louisville, Kentucky, which was a transportation hub of the nation and the world. And you see they were doing a lot of nefarious activities. Things were flying in through the airports, and things were coming in through the water and through the underground tunnels. I won't go into a deep dive of that because I can see that is being dismantled. Thank God, as Iraq is now the new transportation hub of the world. So this bombshell announcement that's coming out of Iraq is very significant for those of you who hold the Iraqi dinar. So let me show you another article to support my claim about the Iraqi dinar as it relates to international trade. Here's another article. Did we already go over this one? Yes, we discussed that one, but there was one more one more article. I hope I have that here in my notes. Keep talking in the chat, family. It looks like I copied a couple of those, the article like twice about Iraq, but I wanted to show you one more article. So I don't see the other article, but let me just tell you that Iraq is going to benefit from this. Oh, I know what I want to show you, as well as the world is going to benefit from the Iraq becoming the new transportation hub. Somebody asked me what year for the Iraqi dinar? Possibly this year. That's what it looks like. And I'm telling you, I am hearing some amazing news, family, as it relates to the revaluation of these currencies and certain triggers happening that I won't discuss, but I've been hearing news that the triggers will start very, very soon. So through the implementation, though, of this system, Iraq will now connect to 66 countries within this TIR system, and the system will increase trade from Iraq, as I said, to other nations, which will lead to higher demand of the Iraqi dinar. And this system ensures that Iraq will become the international trading hub. But I wanted to show you the article. It looks like, let me see. I wanted to show you, well, hopefully I'll find that other article as it relates to Iraq. Here we go. Let me see. This might be it. Yes, here it is. Iraq joins the TIR to boost trade and economic development. Glad I found this other article. Keep checking in, family. Let us know where you're hailing from. Ask your questions. We'll address them as soon as we can. So, the Republic of Iraq, at the crossroads of several trade routes in the Middle East, has become the 78th country to access or accede to the United Nations TIR Convention. Iraq's accession to the TIR Convention, according to this article, anchors its strategic role as a transit hub, and it supports the country's economic vision to expand its non-oil sectors. This system will boost regional trade and stimulate economic development and stability in Iraq. That's what we've been waiting for, the stability of Iraq, to boost the economy and trade between Iraq and other nations. It will boost regional trade and stimulate economic development and stability in Iraq and the wider region. This development will allow Iraq to fulfill its huge potential as a regional trade hub, the article states, supporting east-west and north-south connectivity. Iraq's accession to the TIR Convention is a golden opportunity. Thank you for the cash out blessing. God bless you. Neil Embry, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting my work. Iraq's accession to the TIR Convention is a golden opportunity. I love the way they talk about gold, to confirm the country's readiness to leverage the potential of international trade in supporting economic growth and driving prosperity and development in the region and across the world. Globally recognized for its high security standards and efficiency, this new system has been rapidly expanding in the Middle East, from Oman and the UAE to Saudi Arabia, and most recently in Qatar. This new system is already significantly reducing border crossing times and boosting trade in the region. Exciting news. I hope you all as excited as I am. So, it bolsters better trade agreements and arrangements between Iraq and the region, as well as between Iraq and America and nations all over the world. It helps with cross-border transactions. Again, this new system will eliminate the travel time or time between goods going from and services going between nations. What else is going to happen? And it makes Iraq the new leader in the Middle East and really in the world. And I think Isn't this really ironic how Iraq has had so many sanctions imposed upon them because of war and because of economic, issues? Now Iraq, which had been so suppressed and oppressed as a nation and war torn, is now the transportation hub of the world. How amazing and beautiful is that? How ironic is that the universe will shift things so that Iraq now has become a world leader? And one of the things that I need to mention that I had brought up before is that Iraq has mentioned that they are going digital. So if Iraq is going digital, that means not only that their system going digital, but their currency is going digital. That means that although the Iraqi dinar is going to be in high demand, it also means soon they're going to take the Iraqi dinar off the streets and everything will go digital. But the whole world is going digital. Some people are panicking about that. What are we going to do? The deep state can steal our money. That's true, but we're already digital. Most people don't even use the United States dollar. Countries through BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa coalition, or countries through the Shanghai Cooperation organizations, those Asian nations, they have stopped trading with the dollar. 46 states in America have said that they don't no longer want to deal with the dollar, but we're going to a gold standard, and they've reclaimed silver and gold as legal tender, as these 46 states have either in part or fully gotten rid of state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals, thus acknowledging silver and gold as legal tender and or lawful money. So the whole world really has stated that they are either going to use their own currencies backed by silver and gold, or they're going to use gold and silver for trade. And countries are announcing that they are going digital. As a matter of fact, President Donald Trump said he's going to make America the digital capital of the world. So family, stay encouraged. Please don't panic. Stay encouraged. Keep your vibrations high and stay positive, because yes, we're moving to a digital age. But the good news is that when you have a digital system, you'll have a global financial system that's monitoring this digital system. The global financial system is a sentient system that was a gift to us from the galactics or international, not international, but what they call it, extraterrestrial or interterrestrial beings. This gift that was given to us is sentient. It is transparent. It will monitor transactions and ensure that there is no nefarious trade going on, like trading of humans, trading of babies. And so, the best thing I would suggest for us to do is to make sure all of our transactions are benevolent. Make sure that, these transactions are for our family, our communities, for the world, for humanitarian projects, and just make sure that if you are not confident in this digital system or digital age, that when we move to the digital age fully, you use those digital assets to buy silver and gold or other hard assets, silver, gold, homes, real estate, businesses, something that you can put your hands on, seeds, land, buy hard assets. Not just, you can do it now, but if you're really worried about what's going to happen as we go into the full digital age, okay, get hard assets, because this digital age is really just a transitional period between the fiat dollar and gold and silver, digital assets. And then finally, we will move over into not using money at all, okay, because other galaxies, other places that are outside of planet Earth that's under this dome actually do not use money, as from what we're told, but they manifest things or materialize things just by thinking about it, by commanding it. They use their energy to attract wealth and other things to them, or they just think about it. We used to be able to do those things. So the digital age is just a transition from the dirty, debt-based, filthy, nefarious United States dollar, which had all type of sigils and magic on it, to a system or a time period where we won't use money at all. And I think that's exciting. So let's transition from Iraq to Vietnam. Recently, Vietnam has made an announcement. Some people are saying a bombshell announcement, a breaking announcement, that they will cut tariffs on several products that are coming into their country from the United States. So they're cutting tariffs or taxes on American goods that's imported into their nation, into Vietnam. So when you cut the taxes and you cut the tariffs, you are making a significant announcement that you want to have benevolent trade agreements between America and Vietnam. This cutting of the tariffs will affect the currency exchange rates. Okay. So we know that President Trump initially said he was putting tariffs or taxes on other nations, including China, Iraq, Vietnam, Mexico, Canada. He was putting taxes and tariffs on these other nations for doing business with us because he said that the American people are tired of being taxed. And what happened prior to his administration was Biden and other presidents had stopped taxing other countries for doing business with us or importing their goods and started taxing the people. And they created the IRS, or the Internal Revenue Services. Well, President Trump, upon the second administration, or an extension of his first, however you choose to see it, said, I want to do away with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Services, and I'm going to create the ERS, the External Revenue Services, meaning I'm going to stop taxing the people and I'm going to start taxing these countries that are importing their goods to our nation. Well, the initial response to that was some of these nations said, well, you tax us, we're going to tax you. But then they got smart. Okay. Then they got smart and they said, you know what? We don't really want to play hardball with President Trump because he is the greatest negotiator in the world. He is a businessman. He's a billionaire. We don't want to play hardball with Donald Trump. We're going to cut the tariffs or the taxes on imports coming into our nation in hopes that President Trump will cut tariffs or taxes on our goods going into America. So Vietnam made a bombshell announcement that they are cutting the taxes or tariffs on their goods coming into America. Again, cutting the taxes will affect currency exchange rates. So when the two countries cut tariffs between each other, it means that they reduce or eliminate taxes on goods that's imported between those two nations. And this leads to lower prices on those goods. It leads to increased trade negotiations, increased trade agreements, better trade agreements, and that affects foreign currency exchange rates between those nations. So let me show you the article that says Vietnam will reduce tariffs into America. According to many different economists and experts, this means that Vietnam is making strides to modernize the Vietnamese economy, as well as modernizing their system and their trade agreements, and that will increase the rate of the Vietnamese dong, and it will prepare it to be reinstated back to its proper rate. Let me show you this article about Vietnam here. Keep chiming in, family. Thank you so much again for the Cash App. I hear the Cash App's going off. I'll take a minute to acknowledge you. Thank you so much. Here, this was just published on March the 27th. That was 3 days ago. It says Vietnam announces cuts to tariffs on United States goods as Donald Trump trade announcement looms. They've been anticipating President Trump. Everybody's on edge. Is he going to increase tariffs? Is he going to decrease them? What's he going to do? Because the man is operating at a very rapid rate. He has used the tools of the deep state already, the executive orders, to actually downsize the government here in America, to eliminate the 87,000 IRS workers that were supposed to come in during, under the Biden administration, leading into his administration. He halted all of that. He has secured the border. He has deported illegal or unlawful immigrants that have been in this nation that have not secured their paperwork or have been here committing crimes. The man is on a roll, and other nations are taking note. Okay. So as President Trump's trade announcement loomed, Vietnam just went ahead and said, "Oh, we're going to cut tariffs on all the goods and services or good and products that are coming into America." The Vietnamese policymakers are hoping to preempt United States concerns about its lopsided trade surplus within the United States. Now, leading up to this, I don't know if you guys recall this, but Vietnam just eliminated like a lot of their politicians because they said they were trying to get rid of corruption as Trump was coming into office. The Vietnamese leader, just like the Iraqi leader Al Sudani, those two leaders came to America, met in Washington, met with the United States Treasury Department, and met with billionaires here and businessmen here in America and asked American billionaires and American oil men and American business leaders, preeminent leaders, to invest in both Vietnam and Iraq. So they've been really on a precipice of creating a change as President Trump was about to come into office, and now they're just expediting that. Vietnam this week made a number of preemptive bilateral trade concessions to the United States. They're conceding, they're taking a step back. They're obeying Donald Trump. They're saying, my hands are up. I surrender, conceding to America and President Trump in a bid to avoid the imposition of tariffs by the Trump administration next week. Okay, they know that next week, as of April the 1st and or the 2nd, Trump had made some decisions as to how he was going to deal with Vietnam. So before he can even do that, they said, we're going to cut tariffs and the taxes on goods and product coming into America. According to a report by Reuters that cited a statement released by the Ministry of Finance on Tuesday night, the tariffs on United States liquefied natural gas will be reduced from 5% to 2%. See how they're eliminating taxes, or at least bringing them down? The taxes on cars coming from Vietnam into America will be reduced to 32%, down from a range of 45 to 64%. While the tariffs on ethanol will be halved from 10% to 5%. This is how you get business done. President Trump is not playing with people. This is how you know that the man has a lot of masculine energy. He is a businessman. He doesn't have time to play patty cake, baker's man. Bake daddy cake as quick as you can. First you roll the dough, then you pat it, then you toss it in the pan. No, he doesn't have time for all that. He said, you've been getting away with not having any taxes as you import your goods into America for a long time. And now we're going to do business and we're going to tax you if you want to import anything into our country, because this will be the center of the universe as it relates to trade and how things are to be done. In a statement, Nguyen Hung, the head of the Finance Ministry's Tax Policy Department in Vietnam, said that the tariff cuts are aimed at improving trade balances with Vietnam's trade partners, and it will help Vietnam navigate the complex and unprecedented developments in the global geopolitical and economic situation. Hung said the decree on the tariff cuts will be ready within this month, and it will take effect right after that, Reuters reported. He also added that Vietnam plans to remove its tariffs on American ethane, and that tariffs will also be slashed or cut on a range of other imports, including chicken thighs, almonds, apples, cherries, and wooden products. Who knew we were getting food from Vietnam? Why is it that we're getting food from Vietnam and not growing food here in America? I think that's one of the issues that the farmers here in America had, which is why the farmers took the United States Incorporated to court in the 1990s and said they are forcing us to feed the American people sick food. And if we don't abide by their policies, the American government and the central banking system attached to the United States Incorporated will not grant us loans and grants, or they would give us loans with high interest rates. And that's what led to the farmers taking the United States Incorporated and the Federal Reserve Central Banking System to the world courts in the 1990s, and that led to Nassar and Jassara. So the courts found that not only was the Federal Reserve Central Banking System and the United States Incorporated fake faux government doing nefarious or exacting nefarious banking practices on the farmers, but they were doing it to everybody in America and all across the world. And they said, when the republic is restored, after we take them down, we're going to put together a global alliance. We're going to take down these nefarious beings that's running the world. We're going to implement the gold standard, and then the farmers will be paid out first, and then the rest of the world will be compensated for the nefarious banking practices of the central banking system, which enslaved the world. The administration is set to announce a raft of reciprocal tariffs on April the 2nd. I'm going to tell you about the significance of April the 2nd, which Trump has declared as Liberation Day. The administration is set to announce a raft of reciprocal tariffs between Vietnam and America on April the 2nd, which is Liberation Day. This follows a comprehensive review by the Commerce and Treasury departments, including analyses of persistent United States trade deficits and what might be done to remedy them. Given the obviously lopsided nature of the United States and Vietnam trade relationships, was also attracted attention during Trump's first term, Hanoi has been proactive at preparing for possible attention from Washington. Earlier in the month, the Ministry of Trade, Nguyen Hong Dien, led a large delegation to Washington, where representatives of major Vietnamese firms signed a series of commercial deals with the United States companies worth more than $4 billion. And I'll leave this in the description section for you all to read. One of the things I talked about in my video that did pretty well, I think it reached about 20,000 views when we first published it. It's called Become a Billionaire Through Currency Exchanges or through currency investments. I talked about Vietnam. I talked about Vietnam, Iraq, and Zimbabwe in that video. I'll show that to you. But in that video, I talked about Vietnam, and I said, please do not sleep on Vietnam, because Vietnam's economy and gross domestic product had exploded. And I'll tell you what led to the explosion of the Vietnamese economy, where they started doing very well, unbeknownst to most of the world. The Vietnamese economy started doing well during Trump's first administration because there was a tariff war between Trump or America and China. When those tariff wars happened between China and Trump in his first administration, a lot of those companies that had left America and fled to China said, oh my God, President Trump is about to put tariffs, high tariffs on China. So those countries or those companies in China left and they fled to Vietnam. Let me show you the video you want to see as I talk, where I talk about that more. Here is the video. You can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Kia Pruitt, or Dr. Kia Pruitt Official. I'll put that in the chat for you. You want to look at that video. That video gives so much information as to it relates to currencies, why you would consider holding currencies, the Vietnamese dong, the Zimbabwean zim, the Iraqi dinar. I think I even talk a little bit about Indonesia and India in this video right here called Great News for Currency Holders. The banks are ready for currency exchanges. That one here, you want to see that one? And there's another one called Become a Billionaire. Here it is right here. That one, Become a Billionaire. You want to that one? You add to the source, because in that video, I'm gonna put that in this section, in the description section for you, or that in the chat for you, because in that particular video here, Become a Billionaire, Explosive Iraqi Dinar, Dong, Bolivar, and Zim News. I tell you, here it is. This is what it looks like. This is the blue one right here. I tell you that the companies that were in China fled to Vietnam. You see that blue one, Become a Billionaire? They fled to Vietnam because they can still make use of cheap labor in Vietnam. Okay. And they knew that Vietnam had trade agreements between Vietnam and other East Asian nations. They also had trade agreements between not only just Vietnam and East Asian nations, but some other nations. So these countries were like, we can make use of cheap labor in Vietnam. We can make use of the ports. We can make use of a lot of things that are happening in Vietnam, and we can escape Trump's tariffs on our companies that were hosted or are parked in China. And when those companies went to Vietnam, it increased the gross domestic product or the GDP in that country. So that country was thriving during the global pandemic when the whole world was shut down. Vietnam was doing well. The country was still open. Trade agreements were still operating. The people had jobs. More companies were coming in, which again raised the gross domestic product. And that country was doing extremely well. You got to look at that video called Become a Billionaire. So don't sleep on Vietnam. I give a list of a whole lot of things that were happening in Vietnam, as well as they have a whole lot of resources, natural resources, oil, gold, silver, and other resources in that nation. So Vietnam was thriving during the global pandemic, and those countries, those countries with whom Vietnam had trade agreements were also doing well, unbeknownst to most people. So please don't sleep on Vietnam if you're interested in investments, currencies, because one of the ways you can become wealthy is through buying depreciated assets. This is how people became wealthy during the Depression in 1929, 1930s. While everybody else was kind of struggling, the people who understood and overstood how to make money just looked at depreciating assets. What are the assets that are depreciating in our time? Digital assets. It was silver and gold, but we're going to do a report in a few minutes. We're going to talk to you about silver and gold and currencies. These countries' currencies that have been devalued through sanctions that America or the United States Incorporated have put on them. Sanctions, that economic sanctions that they put on them, those sanctions brought down the rate or the value of the currencies, as well as war that brought these currencies evaluations down. So countries' currencies that devalued the war and or economic sanctions became depreciated. For example, the Kuwaiti dinar in the 1990s, when we had that whole war between Kuwait and Iraq, or Kuwait and other nations, the Kuwaiti dinar was like $3.15 above the United States dollar before the war. Then once the war happened, that Kuwaiti dinar went down to 16 cents. People in the know, like military prelates, people high up in the military, presidents all over the world, and just people, the elites, bought the Kuwaiti dinar as it had been devalued through war. They waited till after the war, where America had funded both sides of the war. Then after the war, America went into Kuwait, rebuilt the infrastructure, and rebuilding the railroads, the airports, and the infrastructure, that all that stuff that happened through the war. Once America rebuilt it, the GP, the gross domestic product, the GDP went up, and then the Kuwaiti dinar went back up in value, and it was reinstated to its pre-war value. Then those people that had bought the Kuwaiti dinar, once it had been devalued through war, just waited till after the war to add. The GDP went up, the infrastructure was built. They knew that the Kuwaiti dinar would be reinstated to its pre-war value back to $3.16. They just went to the bank in exchange for the new rates, and they became millionaires and billionaires overnight. Please look at my videos called How to Become a Billionaire Through Investments, and the one that says Great News for Currency Holders. I'll put it in the description section. I already put it in the chat. I explain in detail why you must get depreciated assets if you're interested in becoming wealthy and this greatest wealth transference in history. Also, you might want to consider digital assets, because digital assets are low right now. They go down, they decrease in value. And that's the best time to buy assets. What they say, buy low, sell high, or just hodl, hold on for dear life. So again, Vietnam has decided that they will reduce their tariffs to America. Now, when two countries again cut tariffs between the two countries, it means that they reduce or eliminate taxes on the goods or imported goods between those countries, which leads to lower prices of those goods, increased trade, and it affects the currency exchange rates between those countries. Reduced tariffs foster stronger relationships between the countries. Now, some people will ask the question, how do tariffs on taxes imposed on goods between two nations affect currency exchanges? It reduces the demand for foreign currencies, according to some experts. And when tariffs are reduced, the demand for the imported goods increase, which lead to higher demand for that country's currencies. So this could lead to a higher demand for the Vietnamese dong. A higher demand for the dong will lead to a fluctuation in the currency exchange rate of the dong between the United States and Vietnam. This also fosters factors, or it additionally factors, such as interest rates, economic stability, economic performance, and political stability influence the exchange rates. So essentially what I'm trying to say is when tariffs are reduced, then there's a demand for the imported goods. They increase because, you don't have taxes on those imported goods. That will lead to a higher demand for the country's currency, a higher demand for the Vietnamese dong. The higher demand for the Vietnamese dong is a good thing for the dong. A higher demand leads to a fluctuation in the exchange rate, according to some experts, between the United States and Vietnam. I hope that makes sense. So Vietnam, again, is reducing or cutting the tariffs or taxes on goods that they're importing to America, just like Iraq is reducing the tariff and taxes on their goods that have been or will be imported into America. Very, very good information as it relates to those who have the Iraqi dinar and or the Vietnamese dong. You can't get in touch with Chief Mac? Who is that? Renee, can you let me know? Oh, here's Chief Mac. Chief Mac's in the house. He says we will be able to fraction our depreciated assets like the banks do. So get some and get your trust set up. Chief, Renee says she can't get in touch with you. If you want to get in touch I'm gonna put this in the chat. To get in touch with Chief Mac, can you send him another email, Sister Renee? Send an email to Unity in Motion 45. I know he's out of town right now on business. Send him another email. And he's had within the last few days, he had like 50 email or more. A lot of people asking questions about how to set up a trust, what's going on with foreign currencies, how to operate in the private, and a lot of other things. So Sister Renee, please send Chief Mac an email at unityinmotion45@yahoo.com. Jeffrey said, I got 5 million Venezuelan Bolivar for $34. This is what I'm trying to tell our soul family. You don't have to be rich. If you have $34, Jeffrey Short is saying he got 5 million Venezuelan Bolivar for $34. Look at places like eBay, Etsy, Amazon, where else? $100 trillions with an S.com, banknoteworld.com, safedinar.com, or just Google online currency dealers. There are lots of them. You can get Vietnamese dong for a couple dollars. You don't have to get the big denominations. You can get a smaller denomination, like 10,000 denomination, for $10. If you have $10. If you don't have $10, just look and see if you have a place in your budget where you can maybe cut something back and then invest in it, or invest in a digital asset, XRP, XLM, XDC. Get Vietnamese dong, Zimbabwean zim, Indonesian rupiah, Indian rupee, Afghanistan Afghani. What else? There are other currencies that the Soul family will put in the description section for you, family. Sister Missy says, the harvest season is here. We must continue to plant the seeds to maintain a fruitful harvest. Abundance mindset. That's the mindset that we must maintain so we can keep the shift going. Thank you so much for the Cash App Blessing family. The Cash App is $ for those asking. Mama Kia 13. That's $ MAMAKIA 13. Thank you, Neil Embry. God bless you. Let's see. An abundance mindset. I will expect something to happen very, very soon. Hello, Love Nubian. Our moderator is here. She put something in the chat for you guys twice. Yeah, we talked about the IQD a few minutes ago, family. Congratulations to all of you new wealthy people. Chief Max said, we did it. We're going to operate in truth, trust, honor, loyalty, and peace towards one another. Yes, Jeffrey says, Dr. Pruitt, I am still holding my Bolivar. Hold on for dear life, family. Don't give it up. Let's see. Kat says, I'm sitting in the hospital with my brother on a breathing machine. He's fed into his stomach. My mom's at home with a stroke with any function on her right side. I contacted somebody. Pray for Kat and her family. Send peace, positivity, and healing vibrations to Kat's mom and brother, to Kat's family members. We command peace right now to come to your family members. We command and send healing vibrations, and may their bodies and their spirits become whole. We have power in our tongue. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Let's speak life over Kat's family and over the Soul family. Love Being Nubian said, Banknote World and GreatAmericanCoinCompany.com. That's true, are places where you can buy currencies. Chief Max says, greetings, Dr. Pruitt and Soul family. Greetings, Chief. All right. Okay. What else is in the news? Let me see. We talked about the Vietnamese dong and Vietnam and how Vietnam is reducing the tariffs between on imported goods coming into America. We talked about how Iraq has created or implemented a new system that will help with cross-border transactions, and how their new system will cut transport time significantly between Iraq and other nations. We talked about through the implementation of the new transport system, Iraq can now connect to 66 nations within the TIR system, how this system will increase trade from Iraq to other countries, which will lead to higher demand for the Iraqi dinar. And this system will ensure that Iraq becomes the trading country in the Middle East and the trading country of the world, the trading hub of the world. This new, for those of you just coming in, the new system will be implemented on April 1st. The implementation of the TIR, which is a global transit system known as the Transport International Router System, goes into effect in the Middle East and specifically in Iraq. It will increase the demand for the dinar because this new system expands and fosters cross-border trade between Iraq and other nations. So we talked about Iraq and Vietnam. I also mentioned that the Iraqi Prime Minister al-Sudani came to America, met in Washington last year. He also met with not only with the president, but he met with the United States Treasury Department to make sure the payment system was in place and to make sure trade agreements between America and Iraq were in place. He then went to Detroit and met with his Iraqi nationals, Iraqi American people that were in Detroit. That's where we have the largest number of Iraqi Americans. He met with them to let them know that Iraq was celebrating the new exchange rate in country And they were also celebrating or commemorating getting rid of ISIS or ISIL from their country. Something that they do every year is celebrate or commemorate getting rid of ISIL. People call it ISIS. I call it ISIL out of Iraq, because Iraq became free when they got rid of ISIL. So when Al Sudani went to Detroit, they said, hey, we're celebrating freedom from ISIL. We're celebrating, according to sources, the new Iraqi exchange rate, and we're celebrating new trade agreements between us and America. He said, hey, I just left the United States so-called capital. I just left Washington, D.C., or the old capital. I met with the presidential administration and the United States Treasury Department. Agreements are in place. Trade deals are in place. We are ready. And then Al Sudani went to Texas, and he met with many oil billionaires and Texas businessmen, as well as some other American businessmen and women, and said, please invest in Iraq because we have a lot of resources to exploit. I also mentioned how Vietnam did the same thing as the billionaires. Thank you so much for the Cash App blessing again, Sister Joyce. God bless you. Having a smile on you. Vietnam asked billionaires and investors from America to invest in their nation. Vietnam also got rid of a lot of the corruption that was occurring in their country. Not only did Vietnam do that, but Venezuela did the same thing. They got rid of a lot of their corruption in their country. And Venezuela also asked for billionaires and businessmen in America to invest in their country. You can look for those articles on Google because they are there. What else is in the news as we head towards the conclusion of this podcast is that and here in Mississippi, some of you have probably already heard this, they abolished state income taxes in Mississippi. We know we already don't have state income taxes in Florida or Texas. Well, Mississippi just made their announcement on the 28th, 2 days ago, that they also are getting rid of state taxes. This is a historic win for the state of Mississippi. And according to many, many articles, Mississippi is leading the way for other states to do the same. I almost said other nations because each state is a nation. Each state, according to our republic, is its own country. It has its own laws, its own lawmakers, its own flags, its own emblem, because it's its own nation. It's its own country. Okay. So Mississippi abolishes state income taxes as of the publication on March the 28th. It has officially abolished state income taxes, positioning itself as a leader in the movement for economic freedom and limited government. What did we say about the government? Limited government. We said that when the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine, also known as the Chevron deference, the Supreme Court of the United States said that the so-called government, the fake government, and all its governmental agencies, all 441 of them, were unconstitutional and corrupt and treasonous, and therefore must be dismantled. This is why President Trump, under court order, tasked Elon Musk to be over or head the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, to downsize the government, to shrink the government, because all of those government agencies, and most of them, if not all of them, are not part of our republic. They created statutes, codes, and policies that were against us by making us get licenses, imposing all these statutes and codes and telling you got to do this, you got to get a license for this, you got to abide by this, you got to abide by that, or else you have to pay a fine or penalty or be locked up. Okay, the Supreme Court of the United States said you have infringed upon the freedom and the rights of the American people to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness by creating all these legalities, statutes, codes, and policies upon them. They're not even laws, because laws are what are created. These are things that are created by lawmakers, not attorneys, but lawmakers, according to our republic, and are in alignment with our republic for our Constitution. Legality, statutes, policies, and codes that relates to the United States Incorporated, the fake faux government. So the Supreme Court of the United States said these fake faux agencies that call themselves government agencies, the FBI, CIA, IRS, et cetera, created themselves, incorporated themselves. They have a Dun and Bradstreet number. They have presidents, CEOs of those companies, even CPS, Child Protective Services. They force the people to abide by them, say that those are laws when they are not. If you don't abide by them, you got to pay a fine or penalty, or we'll take your kids from you, or we'll lock you up, access your trust, pay ourselves by locking you up. After we lock you up, Supreme Court of the United States says we're overturning all of that foolishness. And what had happened before they overturned that, judges were in cahoots and court systems were in cahoots with these fake government agencies and said the people had to abide by them. And if we found ourselves in court because we had to pay a fine or a penalty, or we arrested, the judges said, yeah, we're deferring you back to those government agencies because those agencies are the experts. Well, the Supreme Court of the United States said all of those government agencies are not government. They're not part of the republic. They're infringing upon the rights of the people. They're unconstitutional. They're treasonous. And any judge that went along with it, they've committed treason. And any judge that knew of a judge that went along with it, they committed misprision of treason. That all Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine led to the dismantling of the government agencies. And that is what empowered states to operate in their sovereignty. So Mississippi, upon the heels of all that, officially announced the abolishment of state income taxes. Republican Governor Tate Reeves signed the legislation into law Friday, declaring it a generational victory and a bold new chapter for working families, entrepreneurs, and freedom-loving Americans across the South. We did it, Mississippi, Reeves wrote in a triumphant post on X. We just eliminated the income tax in our state. The article says that while Washington continues to suffocate the American people with taxes, inflation, and runaway spending, Mississippi is doing the opposite, returning power and prosperity to its citizens. Make note that we're talking about power and prosperity, sovereignty. That's what power is. States now have power, sovereignty, and prosperity. Also remember that Mississippi was the 44th state to repeal or remove the state sales taxes from precious metals, meaning that Mississippi acknowledged last year silver and gold as money. Mississippi became the 44th state. Kentucky became the 45th state. Okay. New Jersey became the 46th state to repeal the state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals here in America. And that led to my talking about how more than 45 states had now reclaimed silver and gold as money. And I've been talking about this for the last few years. And finally, we came up and found an article that was published by the Sound Monetary Defense League months and years after we've been talking about this, but at least we got a publication to support our claim that as of this publication, this particular article says 45 states have removed some or all taxes from the purchase of gold and silver. Of the 5 states that still remain or apply this outmoded tax to the purchase of precious metals, most of them are expected to consider ending this tax in 2025. But there's another article that came out that said New Jersey became the 46th state to repeal or remove the state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals. Why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up to let you all know that states are now operating in their sovereignty. States are their own countries. Remember, last year, the Supreme Court of the United States said that state-sponsored banks can operate independently from, separately from the United States Federal Reserve Central Banking System, and state-sponsored banks can have their own charter as well as issue out their own gold-backed currencies. States have reclaimed their power. This is evident that NESARA and GESARA are now in motion and that the republic has been restored. The states are operating independently. That's why before all of this happened, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned Roe versus Wade. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Not just talking about, fertility rights and abortion, but Roe was not even the woman's name in the case. that had lied and said that 5 Black men raped her and now she had to get an abortion. And she used that rhetoric to encourage women to, fight for abortion rights, because in the case of rape, you need abortion. And that became the talking point of all the liberals. You need, reproductive rights, or the right to abandon or abort your child or unalive your child, because some people are great. Well, this woman, Norma, whatever her name was, she admitted to lying. But they called her Roe, and they called the prosecutor, I believe in that case, Wade. Okay, like wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is going to trouble the water. Water, rowing the boat, row, all related to maritime law. They've been talking to us in code. Even the Alabama Brawl about how shipmen, what? I think it was just ironically, it just happenstance. His name was Shipman, had a ship that was docked on the water in Alabama. Okay, then the captain of the ship was fighting with Shipman, telling him to remove your ship from the docking of this water port, remove it. And then he threw up his cap, which was a smoke signal to warn the Moors or the Black people to come and help him fight, because this captain of the ship happened to be a man classified as Black. He was fighting with a Caucasian man named Shipman, all about maritime law, admiralty line. That's why they keep saying, watch the water. Then what happened? The Alabama Brawl, in the reports, they said, oh, here comes the people mooring to the shore to help fight the Black captain against Shipman, a Caucasian man, to have him to remove his ship from the dock so that the Moors, these Black folks who were mooring, can now dock their ship there. I did a whole deep dive with my son, Douglas Lattimore, called The Alabama Brawl Was Fake, to let you all know that they were dropping codes, letting you know that we were moving from admiralty law and maritime law to law on the land or constitutional law. And that's why these Black folks, these swimmers, look like they were really professionals, and they talking about these were kids. That's a lie. These were professional swimmers that were actors. Swam, rushed. They moored to shore first, and some of them jumped out, swam, and they beat up these the Caucasian folk. Okay, after the Black man threw up a smoke signal, which was his cap. If y'all can't see that this is all an act, trying to siphon our energy, trying to cause a war between so-called races, when race economically really is about a race to resources. It has nothing to do with skin complexion, nothing to do with ethnicity. It's all about a race to resources, because this whole war in America is a war between bloodline families, which are not human, but they're using humans in their war. So the Alabama Brawl was again about removing admiralty law, maritime law, and restoring constitutional law. It just so happens that the Alabama Brawl occurred the day after President Trump was giving a speech in Montgomery, Alabama, at a very significant GOP meeting. So they decided to do this brawl, or this so-called fight, which looked like a WWE wrestling match, a fake wrestling match, the day after Trump gave his speech, because they wanted to siphon our energy. But the bigger thing that I want you to take from this is that they talked about Moors rowing to shore, docking their ship there, because they were removing shipmen that was docked at the port from maritime law and admiralty law, and restoring constitutional law, or law of the land. I did a deep dive on that. I don't think it's on my new YouTube channel, because they've taken so many of my channels down, I've lost count, but it is on my Rumble channel. I'll put that in the description section for you too, just if you're interested in how my son and I broke down how it was just a production. Speaking of watch the water, that's why we're talking about cross-border trade, tariffs between nations, cross-border transactions between Iraq, 66 nations, Iraq and the Middle East, Iraq and the world. We're talking about cross-border transactions between Vietnam, trade agreements between Vietnam. We're talking about what happened on the water, or what's happening on the water. That's why they've been saying for many years, watch the water. So getting back to Mississippi, they are removing income taxes or state income taxes from the people, thus liberating the people. And speaking of liberation, President Trump has announced that April the 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day, will be Freedom Day. I bet this is my grandkids. This is my grandkids. My grandchildren like, Granny, is it time for dinner yet? 1 minute, family. Please excuse. That was my grandchildren. Okay, so let me wrap this up. Let's see. They're calling again. Hello. Hello, can I help you? Hello. So let me wrap this up, family. I gotta feed them before bedtime. April the 2nd, Liberation Day and Coinage Act celebration. Thank you for the Cash App blessing. April 2nd, in what's that, 3 days, 4 days, 31st, 3 days, weaves together two remarkable dates in American histories. They're uniting past innovation with modern commemoration. In history, on April the 2nd, 1792, the United States Congress enacted something called the Coinage Act. This was a pivotal law that solidified the nation's monetary system, being that silver and gold were attached to the dollar, that the dollar were defined as silver and gold. I'll be slow with that. April the 2nd, the United States Congress enacted what is called the Coinage Act. That was a pivotal law that solidified the nation's early monetary system. It was signed under President George Washington, and this act established the dollar as the official currency and launched a bimetallic system, linking the value of the dollar to gold and silver. This whole Coinage Act was overseen by the newly founded United States Mint, and it standardized coins by their precious metal content, fostering trust and stability in back then a young economy. You fast forward to 2025, in this new golden age, President Donald Trump declared April 2nd as Liberation Day. So he's connecting this whole Coinage Act, a monetary system where the dollar is now defined as the fixed weight of silver and gold, a bimetallic system, to Americans being liberated. This is a bold celebration of economic renewal, the article states, through aggressive trade policies. And it is a nod also to the day's historic financial roots. The article says that while the Coinage Act of 1792 did not usher in fully the gold standard, later cemented in the 19th century, it did lay critical groundwork or a foundation with practical yet forward-thinking design, thus saying that silver and gold are now money because you can only print out as much fiat or as much dollars as you have gold and gold reserves. So now the dollar is attached to silver and gold as of the Coinage Act in 1792, and we're going to celebrate that. You celebrated that commemoration of that on April the 2nd, and we're celebrating Liberation Day. So April 2nd, 1792 endures a cornerstone of American monetary history. It's bimetallic foundation, shaping the nation's economic trajectory. Trump's Liberation Day, or the proclamation of Liberation Day on April the 2nd, 2025, adds a nuance to the coinage commemoration of the Coinage Act. Thus, we're establishing a legacy of financial independence as of April 2nd, with a modern vision of liberation, making April the 2nd a day of dual resonance. So April 2nd is a day that you commemorate again the United States Congress Coinage Act, whereby the dollar was attached to silver and gold, and Trump saying this is our Liberation Day. On the heels of April the 2nd, you will have a year-long celebration on Memorial Day of 2025, between Memorial Day of 2025 and July the 4th of 2026. And a year-long celebration will occur in Iowa at their some type of festival. Let's see. Let's look up Iowa celebration. I think, what is that Iowa celebration called that will occur Memorial Day? From Memorial Day of 2025 to July 4th. It will mark the 250th anniversary of the United States, and we will host a great fair in the state of Iowa. I'm going to show that to you right here. Thank you so much for the Cash App blessing, family. I hear it coming through the chat, through the phone. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. President Trump on Thursday. This article was published November the 7th, 2024. Back then, he announced a year-long celebration to mark the 250th anniversary of the United States and host a state fair in Iowa. It will be the biggest and most important milestone in our country's history. As a nation, he says we should be preparing for the most spectacular birthday party. On day one, he will convene a White House task force called Salute to America 250. And he promised that this celebration will occur Memorial Day 2025 up through July 4th, 2026. And they will hold a Great American State Fair on the Iowa State grounds. As we chart a course towards the next 250 years, let us come together and rededicate ourselves as one nation under God, President Trump concluded. So we're going to have Liberation Day on April 2nd. While we're in spring and in the new year, then we're going to have Memorial Day on March what is it, May the 30th or May 31st. We have that year-long celebration between Memorial Day 2025 all the way up through to the end of July 4th, 2026. So a lot of things are happening, family. Stay encouraged. Talking about the World Fair and wealth and prosperity. Family, I want you to consider what's happening with gold, because I've told you all that it's a basic economic principle that as the dollar decreases in value, we're not talking about the new dollar. We're talking about as the fiat dollar decreases in value, gold and silver increase in value. Basic economic principle. So the fiat dollar is decreasing in value because nations, let me see if I can find the gold price, because nations are dropping the dollar, the fiat dollar, for trade. And they're using their own local currencies backed by silver and gold. Okay. Earlier today, the gold price had breached $3,100. That was an all-time high. Right now, gold is $3,090.12, and silver is $34.22. But gold had reached an all-time high, a new all-time high, when it was at $3,100. 2 days ago, there was an article that says gold hit another fresh new all-time high level of $3,080, but I saw it at $3,100 earlier today, actually. Let me see what the gold futures look like. Why am I bringing that up? Because you can see that the dollar is losing its value. The dollar is losing its value. Now, Trump is saying that the dollar is holding strong because Trump is talking about the United States note or the United States Treasury note. He's not talking about the fiat dollar. As these countries stop trading with the dollar and they use their own country's currencies backed by gold and silver, palladium, platinum, rare earth minerals, or whatever resources, natural resources they have in their countries, the dollar's going to plummet. And everything attached to the dollar will plummet in value. That's why the stock market, many economists are saying the stock market will plummet. And other markets, the housing market, you already see houses, commercial properties, all real estate being dumped right back onto the market because we're experiencing a market correction. So everything attached to the dollar will decrease in value. This is a great time if you have money, if you have liquid money and liquid assets, to actually buy depreciated assets. I know some people are struggling to pay bills and you won't be able to do that, but I'm just encouraging you that if you can, it is a great time. Gold again, $3,080, but it was $3,100. Let me see if I can find. Somebody has sent me a screenshot where gold was $3,100. Let me see if I can find that for you. Let me know what you think about this, family. If you have a savings and you want to maintain the value of your savings, the dollar depreciates or lessens in value and it fluctuates the dollar, but gold and silver maintain its value and or increase in value. So if you want to take your savings or your retirement account and you want to roll it over into gold and silver, then consider rolling it over in gold and silver. And by the way, I want to say thank you because I have not been promoting gold and silver since my channels have been taken down and money have been, stolen. YouTube wasn't paying me. I was like, I'm gonna take a step back. I'm not gonna be pushing gold and silver on my channel. You guys know I have been an affiliate with Miles Franklin Precious Metals Company, but I want to say thank you because I noticed that people on our channel, the Soul Family, have put a lot of money into silver and gold. Thank you so much for that, family, for investing in silver and gold because it's helping you. You're holding your assets. If you are maintaining the value of your savings by putting in silver and gold, you're getting ready for the silver and gold standard. And also, I am an affiliate, so I get also a percentage of that. And I just wasn't expecting it because I wasn't pushing in silver and gold. But what this says to me is that the Soul Family is like, I want to maintain my wealth. I want to hold on to what I've worked so hard for, or I want to prepare for the gold standard. And I want to leave something to my children because the Bible says, and there's an old adage that says that a wise man or woman leaves an inheritance for his or her children's children. And the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. So people focus on the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. Okay, the wealth of the wicked will be returned to us when President Trump sees and freezes the assets of all these people that were, laundering money and children and doing all this nefarious activities. And when Doge has found all this money that, these government agencies have been paying out to other people that froze those assets or this excess money that's just sitting out in limbo, that money is going to be returned to the people. But there's another part of that scripture, not just the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous, and not just President Trump has issued out Executive Order 138.18, which frees the assets of all these people laundering money, children, and drugs, and all those assets will come back to we the people, and all this money that was paid out through U.S. aid, and all this money that was paid out to these fake people that don't even exist is going to return to the people. But what about your accountability and my accountability? The first part of that scripture says that the wise man or woman leaves an inheritance for his children's children. It is our responsibility, our accountability to leave wealth and an inheritance for our posterity, for our generations, our future generations. So if you have a savings, a retirement, and you're interested in rolling it over into silver and gold, you can use my affiliate, Miles Franklin, by sending a message or an email to info@milesfranklin.com. That's INFO @ MILES FRANKLIN.com, or you can call them at 952-929-7006 and let them know that you heard about Silver and Gold from the Dr. Kia Pruitt channel, and you will receive the best prices in the industry. I say that 10 toes down. I had a customer that saved $300 on $1,000 worth of precious metals last week when she called her local coin company and said, I want $1,000 worth of silver and gold, with the premiums that are attached or put on over and above the market price or the spot price. She would have had to pay $300, but she called our contact and saved $300. So you contact Miles Franklin at 952-929-7006 or send an email to info@milesfranklin.com, and you will receive the best prices in the industry. Family, you want to make sure, if you are able to, you take your silver and your dollar and roll it over to something that is stable, that is fixed, that increases in value. Now, when I first got into silver in 2017, I bought my first ounce. Was it 2017? Yes. Silver was $14 an ounce. Now it's $34 per ounce. 2017. It was $14 an ounce. Then I bought 1 ounce of silver. And I started buying 1 ounce like every month. It was $14 an ounce. Then I met Chris Marcus from his silver symposium that he did online. And I won 1 ounce of silver from his symposium. And that just ignited a passion in me to really get into silver. Back then, it went from $14 to $17 an ounce in 2020. Then it went back to $15 an ounce. And it even came down to $11 an ounce. And now silver is $34.21. Gold is $3,089. And as I told you all, if you cannot afford gold or it's not in your budget, first of all, instead of saying, I can't, ask yourself, how can I? Consider gold AURUM notes, AURUM, gold backs. You can buy gold backs, which are 14 karat gold notes or 14 or 24 karat gold pressed onto a note. Gold backs, 0.999 pure gold. Let me see. Let me show you what it looks like. This 14 karat gold, 24 karat gold, that's pressed onto a note, 0.999 gold, 0.999 fine gold, is used as legal tender in many states already. And the most recent state is Florida. I don't know if y'all remember when I announced that Florida was coming out with their own gold backs. You can use gold AURUM notes to buy local goods and services. Let me see if I can find a company that sells them. And I found some gold AURUM notes for as little as $2.62. I'm going to show you some right now that's $2.99. I always tell you, instead of saying, I can't, ask yourself, how can I? Because the moment you make up your mind, the universe conspires to assist you. Here's a company that sells 1/2 Florida gold backs, a gold note for $2.99. That's pure gold. Pure gold. 0.9999 gold. $2.99. Instead of saying, I can't, ask yourself, how can I? The moment you make up your mind, the universe conspires to assist you. When the student is ready, the teacher, Dr. Pruitt, and others will appear. Welcome, scholars. If silver bullion, silver coins, silver bars are not in your budget at $34 an ounce, get a smaller denomination. Get 1/2 an ounce. Get silver ringgits. Get what they call junk silver. What else? What's another word for junk silver? Somebody jog my memory. Hello, Leslie. Yes, you can get rid of your 401k and put it into silver, Chief Max says. And there is such a program with Miles Franklin Precious Metals where you can take your silver and gold and IRA and roll it over into a gold IRA and or silver and gold. 952-929-7006 or send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Roll it over. So let's see. Sterlings, you can get sterling silver. Sterling silver is 92% silver, real silver, 0.999 silver, or constitutional silver. That's another word for junk silver. Constitutional silver is a lot less expensive than silver bullion. So I just want to let you all know, family, that we're moving into a whole new golden era. For gold RM notes, you can call Miles Franklin and see if they have gold RM notes at 952-929-7006, or go to milesfranklin.com or send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. When you send an email to info@milesfranklin.com, thank you so much for the Cash App blessing. Who's that, Arnold? God bless you. Having a smile on you. I appreciate you. May the Most High and the universe return 1,000-fold back to you all for what you've invested in me. But when you call these companies, ask them if they have gold RM notes. If they don't, go to JM Bullion, go to sdbullion.com, go to Great American Coin Company, or just type in RM, gold RM, AURUM notes, or goldbacks. With the goldbacks, you can buy local goods and services. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you do if merchants don't recognize the goldbacks as currency? You have to let them know that that is the law. And if your lawmakers, many of your lawmakers have already passed the law, find the law in your state. And if the lawmakers haven't made this officially recognized in your state, then you need to operate at the state level and pressure your lawmakers to either write it out in law so you can take it to these merchants, or to make this official, because it's already official in many states. But tell your lawmakers that you need them to do something, or you can actually become a lawmaker. And I say this because the 10th Amendment of our Constitution for our republic says that local communities, states, and local communities have more power than the federal government. And it also says that the federal government has no power except for the power that the people give it through tacit agreement, or just, going along with the program. We're actually giving the federal government power, but state communities, local communities have more power. Let me see, what am I looking for? Goldbacks. My local, I've showed you an article before, local goods and services. Let me see if I can find an article. Merchants recognize gold and silver as money, especially in time of economic crisis. And they most likely, or most often, recognize constitutional silver, which is also known as junk silver, or coins that were minted before 1964. Let me see. Let's see if I can find an article that says you can use goldbacks for local goods and services. Oh, here's 5 ways that you can use. I want you to look it up for yourself, because it's important. I will send you and post articles that I know about. Thank you, Constitutional Silver. Yes, that I know about. But it's important also for you guys in your spare time to do research on your own, just so you can solidify that this information is correct. So when I provide information, go and do more research to prove me right or prove me wrong. Okay. 5 ways to spend goldbacks. This was published January the 3rd, 2024. A goldback is a series of local currencies produced by Goldback Inc. The Utah-based company there in Utah was founded in 2019, and their alternative goldback currencies have since become a national phenomenon. But even before 2019, I remember talking in 2014 about goldbacks. There were 13 states as of 2011 that had legalized goldbacks to be used for local goods and services. There were only 13 states back then, as of 2011, when I talked about this, 2017 through 2020, and now there are over 46 states. So here's the basic concept behind gold backs. Each gold back contains 1/1000th ounce of real gold. Larger denominations also contain gold proportionals to their value. For example, a 5 gold back note includes 5 times as much gold as a 1 gold back, which would be a 1/200th of an ounce. Gold backs, according to this article, are not legal tender, but they are. I want to look for articles that said gold back are used as legal tender. Well, let me look at 13 states. Let me see. These people like to play with me. 13 states, gold as legal tender. They're saying gold backs are not used as legal tender, but they're not telling the truth. And I'm going to show you an article that supports my claim. Here it is. Oh, here's some recent article. Okay, I'm gonna give you a recent article in a minute. Okay, let's go finish this article. Gold backs are not legal tender according to this article. At least this family of alternative currencies isn't considered legal tender in the traditional sense. When we call something a legal tender, we're generally meaning that the currency is backed by a sovereign government. The United States dollar, for example, is a legal tender. Gold backs, according to this article, are not backed by any single government. So technically, they're not legal tender. This doesn't mean gold backs can't be spent, however. Hundreds of businesses across Utah, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Nevada, and Wyoming accept gold backs as payments. But before we get into the top 5 ways to spend gold backs, they said we're going to look at a list of featured businesses that accept gold backs. On that webpage, you'll find an updated list of physical benefits that accept the gold backs. Thank you for the Cash App blessing, Tajanda. God bless you. Having a smile on you. Thank you so much. Here are 5 ways that you can use gold backs. As the corp, let's see, it says there are a number of ways to spend gold backs. We'll outline the top 5 picks, but it's important to remember that gold backs are an alternative currency for a reason. As the corporation behind them continues to grow, it's likely that even more businesses and service producers or providers will start accepting gold backs as payment. See that? Your girl knows what she's talking about. I had so many people argue against me when I first started talking about this, but now we know the truth. Number 1, you can use gold backs for gift giving. This is one of our favorite ways to spend gold backs. They are remarkably cheap and they contain actual gold bullion and always a winner at family Christmas parties. I've given away for Christmas and gift exchanges. You've read about some gold back collectors using gold backs in birthday cards, especially if you're buying gifts for family members that don't normally accept or collect gold. One of the best ways to spend gold backs is to give them as gifts. Number 2, online barter and garage sales. The era of the internet has made it easier than ever for alternative currencies to flourish. Why they're saying it's not a legal tender alternative currency. Just look at the success of cryptocurrencies. Gold backs can be used to exchange goods and services online. Remember, this article is saying it's not a legal currency, but I'm telling you it is because 46 states have repealed the state sales taxes from the sales of precious metals. I know what I'm talking about. Not all vendors will accept them, though, and they're not obliged to do so yet. That's why you need to talk to your lawmakers, because I showed you the article about Sound Money Defense League that said more than 45 states have legalized gold and silver as legal tender by repealing the state sales tax from the precious metals. Why they want to play with us? One of our favorite words to spend gold backs is to look for online retailers and garage sale hosts that might accept them. Third, dentists and medical care. If you take a look at the featured businesses on the Gold Back website, you'll find that a number of dentists and doctors accept gold backs as payments. Everybody needs the doctors occasionally, so it shouldn't be surprising that this ranks as one of the best ways to spend gold backs. Food and groceries. Another of the most popular ways to spend gold backs is on the groceries and foods. Groceries and restaurants all over the Western United States accept gold back as payment. You'll want to check to see if your favorite restaurant accepts them. You have to ask them. Set the tone. Start educating people around you. Offer payment in gold backs and silver, constitutional silver and bullion, says Dr. Kia Pruitt. So ask your favorite restaurants to accept them before trying to pay using this unique alternative gold currency. Number 5, you can use gold backs for legal services. I told you all the other day that on Highway 20 in northern Texas, 2 Chinese nationals that were illegal had $250,000 worth of gold bars. The prelates, the law enforcers confiscated those gold bars. Look at my last live that I did from those illegal Chinese nationals and paid their fine and penalties with real gold, the gold bullion. They confiscated $250,000 worth of gold. They said that what they didn't tax them or charge them with money laundering, but they did confiscate the gold and pay off their fines and penalties. And they said they're going to use residuals of that to pay the policy enforcers. So you can use gold backs as for legal services. Did you know that some lawyers in Utah, for example, accept gold backs? That's right. One of the coolest way the article says to spend a gold back is on legal services, DUI, family, and all kind of different lawyers or attorneys in Utah, Wyoming, and Nevada accept gold back as payments according to the Gold Back Inc. website. Why Utah, Nevada, and Wyoming accept gold backs? Because they were of the original 13 states that accepted silver and gold as legal tender. Talks about how you can spend gold backs. Take some time to research which business accept them. Go to business and tell them to accept them. Some gold affiliated retailers use gold backs. Gold back sorting machines. Even if the company isn't on the gold back list, you might be able to use gold back to pay for goods and services. Okay, so et cetera, et cetera. Final thoughts. Here is the short answer of how to use gold backs is however you want to. I keep saying you have power. You're sovereign. Please stop saying what I can't do, what's not law, what's not right. Please start saying what you can do. You are sovereign. You have power. You have dominion. If you're a Christian, your Bible, or Christian or Jew or Hebrew, your Bible says you have dominion. God gave you power. If you are a Christian or a Hebrew or any of the Abrahamic faith, the Bible say in Psalms and again in the New Testament, ye are gods. It literally says that. In other words, you have rule, reign, and control of your own life. Let's start acting like it. And if countries have used gold and silver and their own local currencies to buy goods and services and for trade, why can't you? You are sovereign. Do it, family. Do it. Do it. So let me see if I can find. You're welcome. Somebody says, thank you. Let me see if I can find this last article. I got to go take my grandchildren to dinner. Hold on, family. I don't want to neglect my grandbabies. Taking care of the soul family. Gold and silver is legal tender. Why are they saying gold and silver is not legal tender? I know what I'm talking about. Gold and silver legal tender states 2025. It says not legal here, not legal, but let me show you the article. Oh, here were the original 13 states. Utah, Louisiana, West Virginia, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Indiana, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee, Wyoming. Okay, this is outdated, even though it says 2025, because let me show you the article from the Sound Money Defense League. You got to pay it. You got to always fact check. You know, the scripture said line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. In other words, you take some sources and you line them up by other resources. Take several sources and triangulate them. Okay, several sources and measure them up between each other. State laws can help restore gold and silver as money. A growing number of Americans understand the reckless creation of fiat by the Federal Reserve, causing many of our economic problems. They want to abolish the Fed and return to the gold back. States continue from Alabama to Wyoming to pass legislation to eliminate taxes on gold and silver, establish in-state depositories, protect state taxpayers' funds with sound money, and more. States continue regrowing sales taxes on precious metals. To date, when was this published? And even there's one that came out after this. This was published. I don't see the publication date. To date, 45 states have removed some or all taxes from the purchase of gold and silver. Of the 5 states that still apply this outmoded tax on precious metals, most of them are expected to consider ending the tax in 2025. Taxing the exchange of Federal Reserve notes for the monetary metal is an atrocious policy for several reasons. States generally don't tax the purchase of investments. States don't slap sales taxes on stocks, bonds, ETFs, and currencies, yada, yada. Taxing precious metals reduces a state's tax revenues, yada, yada. Taxing precious metals is harmful. People purchase precious metals in part to preserve their wealth against the ravaging inflation. More states want to end income taxes on silver and gold. In 2014, the Sound Monetary Defense League worked to monetize gold and silver as constitutional money, including taxes on precious metals from Alabama to Nebraska. Let me see if I can go here. The movement to advance the sound money cause at the state level has grown dramatically in recent years. Let's see. This is likely to continue an era of unprecedented inflation. I want to say, okay, 45 states have removed some or all taxes from the sales of precious metals. Of the 5 states remain, most of them will do so in 2025. But as you go down here, it will tell you that removing the taxes from the sales of precious metals is in essence saying that states are acknowledging silver and gold as money. And I can't find exactly where it says that because I'm rushing. See, ultimately, individual states can't bring soundness to Americans' monetary system on their own. The root of the problem is the Federal Reserve, but gold will end the Fed. So I want you to read that article, and I want you to read the article that says 42 states repeal taxes from silver and gold, because that article goes into detail. And we're going to end there. Here's that article. Let me get out of here. And then sometimes you have to do deductive reasoning. Silver and gold used to be considered money. Then when we came off the gold standard, they considered silver and gold to be a commodity or a collectible. That's why they were able to put a tax on the sales of precious metals. And that's how they came up with capital gain taxes if you have precious metals. But now we are returning to a gold standard, which is why this article says why, or answers the questions of why 42 states have removed taxes from the purchase of gold and silver. Now gold has to be recognized as what? Through Basel III compliancy. Banks have to recognize gold as a tier 1 asset. That means banks have to recognize gold as money and not a commodity, which means that states can no longer tax gold and silver because it's no longer recognized as a collectible or as a commodity, but now recognized as money. Basel III compliancy not only says that banks have to recognize gold as a tier 1 asset, but they also say that banks have to be prepared to receive tier 2 assets, which are foreign reserves or foreign currencies, because banks need gold and foreign currencies to maintain the health of the bank. So they need the gold and they need you to exchange your foreign currencies and put it in their banks because it protects the bank from bankruptcy. Okay. States are removing taxes from gold and silver. This article says 42 states removed it from the silver and gold. Taxing exchange of Federal Reserve notes is an atrocious policy. And it goes on to tell you why it's harmful to citizens to tax silver and gold. Okay. I don't have the time to really go into the article. I've talked about this many, many times. Ending income taxes on silver and gold, why that's important, what that means as it relates to sound money. That's why the last article was written by the Sound Money Defense League. I'll leave all these articles for you in the description section, family. I'm so sorry that I don't have time to go over that into more detail. How much is a half of a gold back? You have to do your own research, my darling. Look up gold Aurum, AURUM notes or gold backs. Look up and they'll tell you the different companies that sell them. It'll tell you how much it is. Some things we can't tell you. Some things you have to take it upon yourself to do. Okay, we got to stop, relying on everybody or other people to answer our questions, my darling. I can only answer some of their questions and I don't have time. I wish I did, but you have to do your own research. So, family, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your love. I appreciate you buying precious metals from our affiliate, Miles Franklin. I'll leave the link in the description section. Call them at 952-929-7006 or send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Or you can always go to your local coin dealer. Just, Google local coin dealer near me. Get some gold RM notes. Look at my videos that says how to become a billionaire. Look at my videos on my YouTube channel says good news for currency holders. I'll leave all these in the description section after I take my grandchildren to dinner. Thank you again for the Cash App blessing. My Cash App is $Mama Kia 13. That's $MAMA 13. May the Most High bless you abundantly above and beyond what you gave me. Again, I want to thank Chief Mac for sending me $400, hundreds of dollars at a time. He said it was his job and his role as the overseer of the Soul family, as my personal overseer, to make sure I'm okay, so I don't have to expend all my energy outside working, but I can utilize my energy doing research, reading, talking to people. I talked to Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth Rodriguez Ruiz, on yesterday, and I've been talking to her throughout the week about some very important things, but I know her. I've done videos with her. She is the trigger for Nasara Jasara and global wealth that will initiate trillions of dollars, trillions upon trillions of dollars being injected into the global economy. Look on my YouTube channel for my interviews with her. I've been talking to her about some very important things. So Chief Mac wants to compensate me for that, and I appreciate that. Also, thank you, Joyce Duckett, for sending me a blessing. Neil Embry says, this is for your hard work. God bless you, Neil. Thank you so much. John McWhorter blessed me. Thank you so much. Of course, Beautiful Max Ministry through Chief Mac. You can contact him at unityinmotion45@yahoo.com. Delilah, Ray, Sheila, OC, Hassan, and the rest of you all. Family, I love you so much. Have a wonderful evening. You're welcome. I love you. I got to go take my grandchildren to dinner. Have a good evening. Make this a good evening. Remember, April the 2nd has been declared by President Donald Trump as Liberation Day. I will see you all later, probably tomorrow. I love you more with all my heart, all my soul, and all my strength, family. Good evening. I saw over 500 people in the chat. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video and the information, and let our family know that things are moving along. Again, thank you for the blessing at $Mama Kia 13. Good night. I got to go spend time with the grandchildren now. Peace. Bye-bye.